So this Amy, I just can't believe her. She had like 14 Amy's on the screen playing bells and singing.
How do you keep up with that?
It's terrible. I'm going to have 3 Bobs preaching this week just to show her up.
Because that's what you want.
Oh, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Wednesday Night Live on May 13th. I'm Bob Hymack.
And I'm Maureen Wilson.
And we are happy that you are sharing some time with us. We've got some wonderful news, lots of significant news to tell you about this week. And I want to start off with just a couple things. Of course, like everyone around the country, we're thinking about reopening. We're still not there, though. For sure, we will not have in-person worship in May. And so we're talking about June sometime, maybe, but we will certainly keep you informed on that. In other news around the building, as I've mentioned before, we have the sale of the hospitality house. The date has now been moved to next Thursday at 1 o'clock is the closing on the hospitality house, which is good news for the IPC mowers because they won't have to mow that yard over there anymore. So, Mo, how about you?
In a couple weeks in worship, we want to be able to virtually honor our seniors and those who are graduating, be it from high school, college, graduate school, or even clown college. That's still a thing, right?
It is, yes. We have several members who have been there.
And we'd be very proud of you. So please contact us if you have someone who's graduating so that we can organize a way to celebrate your achievement in worship. We are also trying to find ways that we can stay connected as a congregation, and we were thinking about starting some different Zoom groups. So if you have a gift or a talent, something that you think people might be interested in sharing, Bob and Jenny are talking about teaching a ballroom dance class. Reach out and we can help you set up a Zoom meeting and get that information to the congregation so that we are all able to be in connection, whether it be through baking, cooking, singing, or
dancing.
Or dancing, sure. Exactly.
Yeah, very good. All right. Well, as we think about these interest groups and think about reopening, one member of the church has shared his own interest of this church, especially about the best seats in the sanctuary. Now, we've always known that the folks who sit in the balcony, they kind of have their own thing going on up there, and now we have it confirmed on video. So here it is from longtime IPC member Tom Harton, the top 10 reasons for sitting in the balcony.
Hello, balcony people and everyone else. I've been asked to explain why we enjoy sitting in the balcony. So I thought the best way to do that might be to come up with a top 10 list. So here we go. Number 10, when you're late for church, and that happens a lot, it's easier to sneak into the balcony. Number 9, balcony step climbing makes a great Sunday workout. Number 8, viruses die in high altitudes. Number 7, the balcony is a great place to study baldness patterns. Number 6, if we ever get that zip line to the front of the sanctuary that Bob has been promising us, we'll be the first in line to use it. Number 5, the passing of the peace is less chaotic in the balcony and therefore more peaceful. Number 4, sometimes we can have a separate service up there and no one downstairs even notices it. Or we can sleep undisturbed. Number 3, there's a hot tub in the top pew and real live wasps in season. Number 2, the regulars. Barb and Bill, Jean, Bill, Sherry, Jackie, Will, Diane, Elizabeth, the Roofs, Wendy, Betty, Jane, Barbara, Ann, the Pages, and an evolving cast of teenagers. And of course, the number one reason to sit in the balcony is it's closer to heaven.
Well, Tom is quite an advocate for the balcony. Or is he an agitator? Maybe both. It's quite a controversial topic. We would love to hear from other members about where you think are the best seats in the sanctuary. Put together your own top 10 list and send it to us so that we can settle this question for once and for all.
Right, yes, for sure. Well, moving on from that very serious topic, we want to share with you some information about one of our IPC missions. And so on Monday, I talked with representatives from Equal Exchange, the fair trade co-op located near Boston that supplies this church with coffee and chocolate and so many other wonderful food items. So here's what I learned from them. Good evening, everyone. We are sharing another interview tonight, and this time we are sharing an interview with two representatives from Equal Exchange, the organization that provides the fair trade food that we sell on a regular basis, and we continue to sell at the church now. And we wanted to talk with two representatives to ask them about fair trade, business and how things are going. So I am here today with Bethany McGinnis and Susan Sklar, and I'd like to just introduce them and just have them say a few words about themselves and what they do, and then we'll get to the interview. So Bethany, you want to start?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I may have met some of you. I was in Indianapolis a few years ago and stayed with the Hymax and came to one of your services. So I hope to see you again sometime. But I work in Equal Exchange's Massachusetts office in our interfaith team, and I help congregations get on board with serving coffee that is aligned with their values, or selling it for fundraisers and sales and things like that.
Great. Thanks, Bethany. And Susan?
Yes, hi, I'm Susan Sklar. Nice to see you, even though I'm not seeing you. And work with the 13 faith-based partnerships. I'm the manager of the interfaith team. We try to get information to people. We go to conferences and meet people in person. Work with the each of the partnership liaisons, and we just try to keep all of the projects strong and flowing.
Great. All right. Thank you. And thank you again for being with us tonight, even though it's, what day is it? Monday afternoon. So the question I want to start off with is whether this health pandemic has affected the work of Equal Exchange or your work personally.
Sure. So one of the things Susan mentioned that we do a lot is traveling for faith-based partnership events and things like that. So we're really not doing any of that right now. We're holding a lot of virtual meetings like this one. We've been using Zoom a lot. Equal Exchange itself is still open. We're still roasting coffee. We have, reduced operations and, 2 shifts of people coming in to do the work that they would normally do, with some special protocols for safety to make sure that they are both safe and customers are also safe, and we can ship those things safely. And Equal Exchange is an essential business, if you're wondering why we were still open, because we have food products and things like that.
Okay.
So we're meeting a lot through Zoom. We are trying to keep open communication between all of our 100+ worker owners around the country, and also with our farmer partners still. We have travel restrictions right now that are not allowing our product buyers to meet our farmer partners and travel internationally. So we're having to again do Zoom calls with those folks as well.
Yeah, so the church has received several shipments from Equal Exchange over the past 6 weeks or so, and so you have had to take more precautions than usual in shipping things and with the coffee roasting and such.
Right, exactly. Yeah, we're still doing our best to get products out, wherever we can, but it's different than it used to be.
Okay.
We have different, we have smaller teams now, fewer people in the warehouse, and we're following all of the regulations. We're wearing masks, they're wearing masks, I should say, gloves, and staying 6 feet apart. Many of us are working from home. People that
Right.
do more of the office work are working from home.
Okay. Well, okay, so that's what's going on at home, but one of the ways we promote this to the congregation is how we help small farmers really around the world. So have you heard if this health crisis has hampered or hindered the efforts of small farmers or the co-ops, especially in the coffee co-ops?
Yeah, we are in touch with our partners as best as we can be, and more information is coming through. At the beginning, it was a little bit difficult. All of these groups have been affected. Farmers have been affected. There are all kinds of regulations now that different governments have, and we work with 40 cooperatives in 20 different countries. So there are many different regulations. In some cases, the governments were not forthcoming with information or guidelines, like in Mexico. The farmers really didn't know what to do for a long time, and operations were shut down. So the co-ops are proving to be a really strong and resilient structure for the farmers. We ourselves, as you know, are organized as a cooperative, equal exchange, and we work with democratically run farmer cooperatives. And the co-ops take responsibility for members. All of the members take responsibility for one another. So they are using their funds for food, to distribute food to members who have to shelter at home, because they're sheltering at home the same way that we are. And so in one case in Mexico, they used their fair trade premium that came from Equal Exchange, like $20,000, to purchase food and supplies, distribute to members so they could stay at home for 2 weeks and not have to go anywhere. So that's one thing that we know about. It's interesting because another thing is that even though coffee farmers are isolated, they tend to live on small farms at high altitudes away from each other. And so they haven't been getting the virus, or haven't been exposed to the virus as much. They've had more difficulty getting their beans to central areas to be distributed. So that's been a problem. So the co-ops have been helping them with that. Also helping to get the product to a central, like a port. Some of the ports have been closed for a month or more. So it's really disrupted shipping. And also, in some cases, in many different countries, roads have been closed because they've been trying to keep people at home. So farmers have to have special permits to get through. Sometimes they have them, sometimes they don't. They have to wait for hours, get their trucks through to ports to find out maybe the port is closed. So there have been many, many disruptions in terms of operations and shipment. And there have been many people who haven't gotten, members, particularly, there's a range on co-ops as well of low income and more medium and higher income people. So the co-ops are making sure that the lower income farmers are getting food, getting health supplies, getting masks, getting gloves, and all the things that they need. And most importantly, getting information. So we're finding that co-op structure is really coming through. It's providing to be really resilient for people. Another thing, just a very simple thing in terms of access to growing food and food members, like on the land itself, because they're not plantations, they have more control over their food, so they can distribute the food among members. So, so we're hearing that there's been a lot of disruption. A lot of people, have outside of the co-ops, have lost their jobs, and it's a very difficult situation. And so it's very important that people continue to support Equal Exchange, because we're helping to support. We're buying the products and we're helping to support these farmers and keep them going through what is a very difficult time.
Yeah, well, that leads into my really final question is about if there's anything you want to share with our church, or really any churches, about the importance of continuing this purchase of fair trade products to support these farmers. It sounds like they're in the same difficulties that we're in.
No, that's true. And just like we are wondering how our farmer partners are doing. We've heard through our liaisons at Equal Exchange that farmer partners are wondering how we are doing and if we're continuing to be able to sell their products and will continue to buy from them in the future. And so it's nice to be able to tell them that people are still buying them, supporting the work that they're doing, and keeping alternative supply chains open. I think a lot of folks right now, it's important for them to know where their food comes from and are supporting local farms and things like that, and trying not to shop through, I won't name them, but some big, huge retailers that we all know of that sometimes are exploiting their workers. So, to support Equal Exchange's work, we're an independent worker-owned cooperative. We feel like, the work that we do is dependent on the work that small farmers are doing as well. So we all want to stay safe and continue to support each other.
Right.
Well, I'd like to just add something. I'd just like to add that at a time when churches are closed down, it's important. We would urge people to show solidarity to these small farmers and to these cooperatives by maybe taking some of the products, ordering Equal Exchange products, and doing fan clubs on their own, and distributing small farmer products to people in their neighborhood, their friends, other church members who live nearby. If you're interested in finding out more about this, maybe Bob, you could give people a link. We'll give you that link so that people can find out more about how they can form their own fan clubs during COVID-19.
And I want to say a big thank you to Jenny, who I hear is making sure that folks at the church are still getting products that they know and love by way of, punching their little code to get in the building and get cases of what they need. So thank you, Jenny, for continuing that important work.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jenny.
Well, yeah, it is our goal to become the #1 faith-based selling group in Indiana. We almost made it last year. We were #2. So we're still shooting for that. Not that we're competitive or anything. We're just interested in selling a lot of products. So
no, your church is one of our top customers, so we appreciate your work very, very much.
You're one of our heroes, so keep doing it.
Well, you're a hero for us too. We do understand the importance of Equal Exchange food, fair trade food, and so we're trying to do our part too. So, well, thank you very much for sharing this information and taking time out of your day. And we certainly hope the best for you during these next few months and as we continue to kind of weather through this difficult period. So thank you very much.
Great interview. It's wonderful to hear how our IPC purchases continue to help small farmers around the world. If you are interested in purchasing anything from our Fair Trade cart, please contact Jenny Hymack. And now, we present all the news that you can use, or not, in our weekly review of the real fake news of IPC. Here we go.
Due to ongoing restrictions in the travel industry, the church has decided to purchase an airplane and start our own airline. Called IPC Air, the plane will be piloted by Captain Eric Schreibman. IPC greeters will serve as flight attendants, and IPC Elder Matt Hoke, who currently works at Indianapolis International Airport, he has accepted the role as Chief Administrator of IPC Air. The bell tower will be renamed an Air Traffic Control Tower, and IPC ushers will serve as air traffic controllers. As an added bonus, coffee hour donut holes will replace pretzels as a snack during flights, and of course, Equal Exchange coffee will be served.
That is going to make our time to get to Reynosa, Mexico much faster for the mission trip.
Can't wait for it.
The Tate Institute of Modern Art in London, England has requested to do an installation of the art of IPC's own Bill Voiles. Bill's photo series titled Stay at Home has gathered underground momentum as he continues to capture the beauty and challenges of everyday life at Westminster Village. Critics are calling him the next Banksy, and we call him an IPC original.
Yeah, he's doing great work out there. We have just learned that in preparing for reopening worship, the church has purchased 10 power washers. Those who attend worship will be power washed before church and then again after church to wash away any viruses and, of course, any sins that they may have come in contact with. These power washes will not be considered rebaptisms, as that does not fit within our Reformed theology.
Gotta stay true to the faith.
Learned that in seminary.
The Legend Cafe in Irvington has recently reopened for curbside takeout only. Fashion icon Anna Wintour was spotted picking up some of their famous Dad's Crunchy Chicken and, oh, it's so good. Wait, no, I don't eat chicken.
I love it.
And tomato basil soup, which I like. When asked about the next big thing in fashion, she was quoted as saying, "Masks are the new black." And we're not quite sure what that means, but it sounds like it's going to be big.
I'm going to think about that line. Well, also, as mentioned by Mr. Harton in his top 10 list, in anticipating the reopening of worship, a zip line has actually been installed in the sanctuary, reaching from the balcony to the lower level. Those sitting in the balcony will be asked to use the zip line when worship has ended so that no one will be bunched up in that stairwell. It's a narrow one.
It's safe.
Regular balcony sitters, Bill and Barb Furling, applauded the move, saying, "We've wanted a zip line for years, and finally someone has listened. Now, if you could just do something about the heat."
It is so hard to please those balcony people.
Terribly hard.
It's like they think they're above everyone else. Disney Plus announced this week that they are releasing the film of the original cast of Hamilton a full year early. In a further statement clarifying that while a certain Presbyterian pastor had been in tense negotiations to replace Lin-Manuel Miranda for the part of Alexander Hamilton, directors felt that his inability to grow the required long flowing ponytail would have taken away from the experience of the character. You got anything to say about that, Reverend Hymek?
I do. I'll tell you what. I'm not throwing away my shot. Well, that's about it for the real fake news tonight. And now, instead of ending with a devotion or a prayer, as we've done in previous Wednesday night lives, we close tonight with an inspirational song by Abigail Hall and Olivia Page. They are presenting this song for these challenging times, a very appropriate song called "Will the Circle Be Unbroken?" Let's listen. Beautiful. Just makes your heart beat, doesn't it? So thank you, Abigail and Hal and Olivia, for bringing that music to us that helps tie us together. And so now we finally come to the end of the show. We're ready to say goodnight, but we ask that during this next week that you keep the circle with God and each other strong and unbroken. And so, pray together.
And stay together.
And we will see you in our live stream service, 10 a.m. Sunday morning. Have a good week, everyone.